All right, everybody, welcome back to the number one television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I am going to be reviewing Gold Coast by Elmore Leonard. This book came out in 1980. So I've got the entire Elmore Leonard collection down here. I've got every novel he's ever written. We'll pan through my library and I will show you. Let's see. That right there is my entire Elmore Leonard collection. Anyway, we'll go back over here and set things up. You got a little tour of my library there anyway. So Gold Coast, 1980. Let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. This is cool. It's flashy. It's bright. It's colorful. We've got the two gold rings here. Picture of the author on the back. Anyway, so this book takes place in Florida. Now, I've been reviewing all of the Elmore Leonard novels in order of publication, and so we've probably got about 7 or 8 reviews from Elmore Leonard up now, and so far all of his little mystery thrillers have been set in Detroit. Now this is the first one that ends up being set down in Miami, and I think that this is where Elmore Leonard really hits his stride. when he moves all of his plots from the Detroit area down to Miami, his books just take on a different life. It's kind of like when his books started to really get popular. They just have a different feel, different flair, different flavor, different landscape, different kind of characters. So this takes place down in Miami. Now, before we get into the plot and characters of this book, just so if you are not familiar with Elmore Leonard, he writes. I'll just say this: Quentin Tarantino's favorite author is Elmore Leonard. In fact, Quentin Tarantino's movie Jackie Brown was based off of an Elmore Leonard novel, and so the writing style of Elmore Leonard and the screenplay writing style of Quentin Tarantino are very, very much the same. Got quirky dialogue, quirky, absurd situations, and just kind of grim and brutal, violent things happening left and right. He's one of my favorite writers, just as Tarantino is one of my favorite film directors. And if you've ever watched the show Justified with Timothy Olyphant, that is an Elmore Leonard. That's based off of an Elmore Leonard novel. And even the Justified City Primeval, the new Justified. Anyway, that's also based off of Elmore Leonard. Anyway, so that's kind of the genre we're looking at here. So this is about Frank D. Celia, who is a mobster. He's a Florida mobster down in Miami. And he's a cheater. He cheats on his wife. His name is Karen. Now, Karen knows that he cheats. This is kind of like the old Tony Soprano, Carmela Soprano setup, where you got a mobster who runs a mob, has a lot of money, lavishes his wife with a great lifestyle, but he cheats. And the wife knows all of this, but goes along with it because she's being lavished with a nice lifestyle. It's kind of the setup of the plot here. Well, anyway, Frank DeCelia dies. I won't tell you how he dies, but he dies. And now Karen is left as a widow. And she is left with a great big fortune. However, in the will that Frank DeCelia left, there he's got some stipulations. She can have all the money. She can have all of it. She can have everything. She just can never get involved with another man for the rest of her life. She has to be faithful to Frank, even in his death. And even though he was a cheater, I mean, this is just what he set up. So now she is like, well, I can't even be with another man or I lose all the money. And her husband, Frank, the gangster, has got this guy, Roland, who's a crazy wannabe cowboy thug who has been charged with spying on Karen and kind of being the dude that his job for the rest of his life is to make sure this lady does not ever get involved with another man or she loses the fortune. And so that's quite a pickle that our Karen is in. But then comes along Cal McGuire, a sexy, street-smart ex-con from Detroit. He's a con artist, he's a scammer, he's up to no good, but he's got this plan, this outlandish plan to get Karen out of this situation wherein she can keep the fortune, date other men, and live happily ever after. And so it's sort of this absurd situation, this absurd caper, this with a lot of dodgy people doing dodgy, sketchy, sus things to each other. And it's like it plays out like a Tarantino movie would. It's just very bizarro, very dark humor, very witty dialogue. Probably, up to, since I've been reading these, I've read all the Elmore Leonard novels, but I'm rereading them for the channel, in publication order. And this is my favorite one so far. It's just dynamite. It's on point in every way possible. I give this a 9.75. Almost a 10 out of 10, folks. It's just a dynamite book.